Miss Hill, are you able to see and hear me? Hey, Mastermind.
Hello, how are
Oh,
you?
hey, Miss Hill, are you all able to see and hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. Mastermind, are you here?
I am. I'm just trying to switch off to another computer.
Okay, then. Perfect. Well, happy Sunday, everyone. It is the first Sunday of March, and so we are rolling already. Okay, Mastermind. We are rolling already in the year. I'm Sherry Bogart. If you all do not know me, I'm located here in Memphis, Tennessee. Just a spiel for newbies. I used to be tutored by Dr. Pam, and now I've been working for her for 3.5 years almost. And so things are switching up a little bit. We're kind of rotating out. If you all are not aware, Dr. Pam is a world traveler. She retired this year. The time I've known her, all I ever heard her talk about is when I retire, I'm just going to travel the world. So she is traveling now, trying to identify where she's going to make her new home, whether it's going to be in the USA or outside of the USA, but more so potentially outside the USA. Also, if you all follow Dr. Pam on Facebook or any other outlets, I know for sure Facebook, you all may have became aware that her YouTube account has been hacked. And so if you all try to go out to YouTube, it didn't just affect you all, it affected us as staff. You will not be able to pull up any old videos. I'm sorry. I tried to go in my collection today just to make sure it was true, and it's like, nope, it's gone. So if you want the person that was like recording them somewhere else, and if you do have any recordings, please send them to us so that we can try to do whatever we can to get it back. Whatever your faith is, as long as it's something positive, I'm adding it in myself. I'm just going to ask that you lift her up at this time because this is devastating. But I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. You don't know what the reason is in the beginning. Um, Miss Cornisha, and for the request of Dr. Pam, you're gonna have to pull over.
I'm poked. I just poked.
Okay, okay, okay,
I
okay.
know. Look, I watch your videos all the time. I say, I know she about to get on me. Let me hurry up and park.
She's like, I can hear her in my head, like, if they drive and hang up in our meeting, I'm like, I don't want to. Just hang up. They know. So, you all, tonight is cultural diversity. What I do is I try to do questions, I try to go over things, I will call on you. This is group, we're all doing the same things. We're just trying to get there, we're trying to pass. So we're not here to be critical or judgmental. Feel confident when you answer the question, even if you don't answer it right. So someone asking a question.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't looking at the time. I thought it started at 6 o'clock, but I'm in New Orleans. I'm realizing it started at 5. I literally just pulled up at Walmart. I said, oh, I
Mhm.
got to make a couple more stops before. Is it okay? I listen.
Mhm,
I'm just
mhm,
grabbing two
mhm.
items and then
I
I'm gonna.
can't see you.
All right, perfect.
I'm on Central Standard Time, so it's Eastern. It normally says 6. It should be listed as 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which I'm Central Standard Time, so it's 5 o'clock for me. Um, so let's see. Any questions, comments, or concerns before we get started? I'm about to share my screen.
Yeah, I even tried to get onto like some of the old Zoom, like our
Mhm.
one-on-ones, and I thought because it wasn't YouTube that I would be able to get the Zoom meetings, and I can't even get those.
Oh, it's gone.
Yeah, the only Zoom meetings I was able to get is the ones from February. Anything before February is gone.
She is working on it. Um, if it comes back, I'm praying it does, but we don't know what the outcome is going to be at this time.
Do
Yep.
she give suggestions on how we should study now that because like when I go on YouTube and I type in Dr. Pam, oh, I don't know who's on here. Maybe I shouldn't say this.
What I'm gonna say is what this Zoom is, our Zoom accounts now are different. So the thing is, everything at one point was linked. What I can say is take good notes for right
Oh,
now, just to be on the safe side with everything. Um, if I don't know if this is a part I'm saying, and Dr. Pam can come back and slap me on the hand later. If you feel like you need to record the session, if you have a device that you can record the session on, feel free to do so. Because the thing is, we have it recorded anyway. And so if you were allowed into the class tonight, you're privileged to that. Like I said, I'll take the step on the hand later if it come back and bite me in the butt. So if you have another device where you have a recorder or you have the capability, you're savvy where you can record me. Hey, the only thing I'm doing is teaching so that you can feel comfortable. But what I will remind people is this is why I say I'm old school pen and paper because before there was technology, it was we had to see people in a classroom, print off stuff and write. So sometimes, just this, I'm gonna say just take this as an opportunity because the pen and paper actually works better. Um, and this is just one of those hiccups where the goal is to have things going forward. The Zooms you should be able to access if they're not linked to YouTube. So that's the thing. Anything that's linked to YouTube, that's where the big kaboom has occurred. So tonight is diversity and discrimination. And I just want to remind you all that when it comes to diversity and discrimination, this kind of has a lot to do with the founders like Eric Erickson, Piaget, all of them. And so one thing you should most definitely know about this when it starts is understanding the family life cycle. So remember with that family life cycle, the book focuses, when it talks about family, it focuses primarily on the family life cycle from the Western tradition standpoint. But I will let you know that chapter 3 also focuses on the LGBTQ plus. So keep that in mind. So with the Western family, it's the newlyweds, it's the funding, then you grow. And the funding is like, the next tier after the newlywed stage. You still happy, but you kind of, now like, oh, I've been with this person for quite some time now. And I'm starting to see things that I didn't initially see. I see when he take his underwear off, he just laid him in the floor for like 2 days. Like, who does that? Stuff like that. So then you have after the funding, the growing, you start having the kids, your kids eventually become teenagers. And then after that, they start launching out into the world. And this is where we want them. We want to teach our kids to be healthy. So that's where the perspective of understanding if you're authoritative or authoritarian or permissive or just a I don't care type parent. And then you have the emptiness. And believe it or not, that's where I am now. And it gets lonely as an emptiness. So if you have kids and you're complaining about them being at home now, when they're gone, you're going to be complaining about being home alone. And then you come to retirement stage. So I'm going to be there real soon. I'm looking forward to it. Believe it or not, a lot of us don't make it to the retirement stage, or when we make it to the retirement stage, like Eric Erickson talks about, a lot of us are stagnated. So you just didn't, you at the end of life and you have nothing to show for it. So do anyone have questions about the family life cycle? Okay, moving on. This is just the intro. Again, Eric Erickson, Cobra, Pierre J, Margaret Mailer, all of these individuals play a big role This part of the exam, I want to say is probably maybe about 15%. So, tonight I am going to do a lot of talking, but I will get you all engaged. I have worksheets that I present to you all. Someone is asking me a question. I thought somebody was okay. So, what we want to initially talk about is the effect of disability on the biopsychosocial functioning throughout the lifespan. So, does anyone briefly knows how disability affects a family? Like if there's somebody in the family that's disabled, how does this affect the family?
Their ability to earn, their ability to potentially be able to participate in family events, academic learning. It could also impair their movement. So the family may not be able to move, like maybe they need a car or something, but they live in a very socially isolated area or they can't afford it. So sometimes I think a disability can impact a person, even though it may really just apply to one person. It revolves around everything.
Yeah.
I am a mom of two children who are on the spectrum, and I can tell you that their disability does play a role in how I am able to take them to places like Chuck E. Cheese, sensory issues. Like you're constantly restructuring your life to make sure that they're able to participate in like pro-social engagement.
Yes.
And I
And
didn't
it's
really realize that.
hard. Yes, it is a strand. Thank you for sharing it too, Jessica, the personal piece as well. And so, like she just explained from a family perspective, if it's somebody in the family and it's just going, whether it's your kids or if it's you. And remember, the disability, we're not always born with the disability. Sometimes it can just occur over life. So what happens is when we're working with our clients, this is a part of our biopsychosocial, cultural, emotional assessment. So what we're looking at is the lifespan. And so what we're talking to them about is like, if they have a disability, how are you going to manage your income? You know, these are things you're looking at finances. And because I said they get disability, does not mean it's enough to hold them. And so again, like I mentioned, it causes a strain. And what we have to understand for the sake of the test, it will be disabled kids on the exam. And on the exam, it's going to show that that disabled child is affecting the whole family. Often it's like a kid with a chronic disease like cancer. The child is like maybe 7. There's probably a 13-year-old already in the home. And now that 13-year-old is that 7-year-old is getting all the attention. So now the whole family has to come to the counseling because the 13-year-old is acting out. And the family's like, we don't know why he acting out, because you've given all the attention to the child with cancer, the younger child. But when you look at the exam, are you all able to see my screen before I keep talking?
It's just on
It's on your
there's
drive.
yeah.
I kind of figured something told me this darn. I'm starting to think, mastermind, might be last time somebody was up in this thing messing with the stuff. Let's see.
This week again,
Again,
we're gonna
again.
have to sage your area. Maybe it's a spirit.
I'm just rolling. Something said, Sherry, stop and ask him. It's telling me that you all can see it though.
I can see it now.
You can see
Okay.
it
I can
now.
see it also.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, like I
So when
think
it
when it
comes,
says share your screen, it doesn't always tell you what we are able to see. We see what you see when you share your screen. So if you're seeing your files, that's what we're
oh,
seeing.
I wasn't seeing my file. That's the thing. Yeah, I do Zoom all day, every day. It's just computers and everything. And so when it comes to the exam and the older individuals, things you're looking at when it comes up about disability, it's going to look at the fact of sometimes it's trying to assess you in the area if you know if this person is being neglected or if they're being abused. But also can be in the perspective of a family now in the sandwich generation. Anybody know what the sandwich generation is?
No.
The sandwich generation is when you have a child that is taking care of their elderly disabled parents and their children. And so the caregiver is, for instance, me. I have a child that I have to take care of, and then I have to take care of my disabled 88-year-old mom. And so what you're looking at on the exam, it shows up. It doesn't use the word sandwich generation, but it just again talk about someone who has to take care of their family and additional family members. And it causes a lot of stress in that area as well. So because the child is now taking care of their parent, the adult child, it wants to assess you to see if you understand again what abuse or neglect look like. So it's going to say, this six, normally on the exam, it's going to be somebody 65 or older. It's going to say elderly woman or elderly man, disabled. They have cancer or they have mental impairments. They're malnutrition. So when you see the word malnutrition, whether it's for a child or adult, think about safety. And you may have to call APS or Child Protective Services. So things you need to know on the exam, whether you're studying for your LM, LC, LAP, you need to understand major chronic conditions. So because on the exam, I always tell, especially to students I've had individually, you're going to always assess for medical. If somebody's in your office or somebody on a virtual call, whether it's on the exam or in real life, and they're sweating, or if they told you on their biopsychosocial assessment that they have a history of heart disease, that somebody in their family have hypertension, they had a stroke or been potentially at stroke level, diabetes, cancer, HIV, AIDS. And you know there is a difference between HIV and AIDS. It's HIV first and then AIDS. Once you get the diagnosis of AIDS, it never comes off your record, although you can go back to a HIV status. Anybody need me to clarify that before I keep going?
So I work in a hospital setting, and when I said, "Oh, this person is positive," they corrected me and they told me that now the word is known positive because of what you just mentioned. So
But on
that was
paper,
something I didn't even know. But yeah,
yeah.
they'll say history of
Mhm.
HIV or history of
Mhm.
AIDS because it just depends on the viral load.
Yes.
So that was something that I mean, I know I come from the 80s and that was a
Mhm.
predominant thing. And then there is what we have like HASA in New York, which is
Mhm.
housing that's dedicated for people that have this particular
Mhm.
status. And at one point it was based on their T cell or their viral
Yeah.
load. They no longer have that parameter anymore. You have this diagnosis, it's just considered a chronic illness and you
Yeah.
just get it. But they like corrected I guess my
Yes.
client-centered language, so I figured it was
Uh-huh.
worth mentioning.
Yep, you have to because I mean knowledge is just power and everything is changing and most definitely in the world of HIV is changing because of medication, but again by law we're still not able to disclose anybody's status. And the only way the status can be disclosed if it's identified that a person is just out knowingly infecting a group of people and the health department would blast that person all over the news and stuff. And so injuries, malnutrition, things of that nature. But going back to also chronic health conditions, and these are keywords that you should be looking for on the exam during those vignettes. Uh, Mental health conditions, dementia, depression, blindness, visual impairment, accidents due to injury and falls, because again, that's going to be a cognitive distortion. And if the setting of the vignette is saying you're meeting with the client and they're presenting with some type of health issues, you got to know that in that refer them out. And then once they're cleared, medically cleared, they come back to you. Questions, comments, or concerns? So one other thing you need to understand, this is Maslow, what I'm about to talk about in because there is a relationship between disability and poverty. There could be a person that's making $100,000 a year involved in a car accident, and if they're 30 and they're making $100,000 a year, they're involved in a car accident, they're severely injured, they're not going to be eligible for retirement benefits. They barely have a retirement account, contingent on if it's a 401 or IRA and all those other things, or if you work for the state, or if you work for the federal, or if you work for, I mean, so all that plays a part. So contingent on what you put in is what you get out. So a person goes from living in a really nice house and now having to rely on disability income, it brings that person all the way down. And so now they're in poverty. And then if your income is over $1,200 contingent on the federal guideline, then you may not be eligible for like benefits like Medicare or Medicaid or even food stamps, SNAP benefits. So keep that in mind. What you're looking for on the exam is to understand, you want to make sure you understand that there is a correlation between disability and poverty. And correlation is a research word. Questions, comments, or concerns about this? You all will have some test questions, so I'm hoping y'all paying attention. Let's see. Let's talk about this part of culture, diversity and discrimination. So, when you're looking at the effects of culture, race, and ethnicity on behaviors, attitudes, and identity, you have to understand that this is the makeup of our world, not just the exam, but the realistic piece of our world. So, in the United States, it has a racially and ethnically diverse population. So, you need to truly know the definition of race and ethnic. And then also what you need to understand is in the United States, the census only recognized 6 ethics and racial categories. Did you all know that? Only 6 in the US. We are not talking about things outside of the US. So what's recognized and what you will often see on the exam, these are the ethnicities and racial groups that you will see on the exam. White Americans, American Indian, and Alaska Native, and sometimes those are kind of like coincide with each other. Asian, and there's a lot you need to know about Asians because their bodies are not like everybody else's bodies, genetic wise. African American, excuse me, Native Hawaiians, and other Pacific Islanders, and people of 2 or more races. So they could be biracial, anything, any person with 2 or more races. So remember, the exam will always show those ethnic races in the vignette. So I want you all to listen to me and listen to me well if you all have fallen asleep thus far, because there are 2 words that I always teach everybody, and it's intra and inter. Intra is the same. All of us on this call tonight is part of an intra group. Miss Hill, why are we all a part of an intra group tonight?
If I'm not mistaken, we're all part of the intro group tonight because we're here for the studying for cultural diversity. Is
There
that
you
correct?
go.
Okay.
Yep. We're all here. We're all here for the same thing. We're all the same people. We're all social workers, you know. So the opposite of the word intra, I-N-T-R-A, is going to be inter, I-N-T-E-R. And that's a different group. Now we added nurses and doctors and CNAs and psychiatrists and LPCs to this call tonight. It would be inter. You will see the word intra and inter throughout all study material and throughout your exam. If anybody haven't seen it, you lucky. So if you really know the suffix of this, you can actually be able to gauge through a lot of questions and do process of elimination and have a 99.9% chance of getting the correct answer. And so remember, it is important to view a client as the expert. You do not stereotype your clients. You don't make assumptions about their values, their beliefs, their attitudes, or anything. So I have a private practice, and I had a client just this week, new client, and she came on when the virtual call popped up. The first thing in my head is like, how many races is she combined with? And so as we started talking in her assessment, she was pointing out that her and her partner live with his grandmother. And she was like, she's so culture based. And that instantly prompted me to say, so what is her culture? And she was like, oh, she's Native American. And I was like, and she allow you all to stay in her home with the baby? And she was like, yeah, it's tweaked a little bit. So these are questions you get to ask your client. Then I'm looking at her and I said, so explain to me, what's your background? And she was like, I'm Asian and my dad is Black. And so You have to ask these questions, and it's best to catch them in your biopsychosocial assessment. Because I don't know if you also know, just in real life, sometimes agencies or hospitals or various sources where you work, they get paid for different ethnicities or different races. So, did you all know that? Okay. So, that's why it's so important. The reason we need to know it in our profession, not only just for their purpose, but because, again, when we're educating our clients about medications, because as a LC, we don't prescribe the medication, but in any of our credentials, we're making sure we're educating them about medication. And if we know their ethnicity or their race, then we can say, hey, you're Asian. I can see why you always saying your head is hurting because you're taking this particular medication and it does not work well in your bloods or in your system. So questions, comments, or concerns about what I just said? So here we are. Let's talk about white Americans. So we're white Americans. What you need to know is, for the sake of the test, let me just tell everybody, we are scratching out how we live at this point. We scratching out how we talk amongst our peers at this point and what we do at work at this point. For the sake of the test, what you need to know is that for white Americans, when it comes to their family, there are parents with young children. They have a divorce rate that is common. Their personal desires is to put family first. And when they become parents, they're trying to be the friends with their children. So this is the one you would probably be like, I say that every day in real life. And y'all be like, well, black people ain't friends with their kids. But for the sake of this test, we're going to scratch out everything we say in our personal lives, and we just gonna focus on what this material wants us to know. But in real life and on the test, white Americans are more so known to be friends with their children. That is actually healthy. So we as black people, we probably need to be stepping our game up a little bit. And that's actually what's considered as authoritarian, because what they're doing, I'm sorry, authoritative, because what they're doing is allowing their children to have that dialect back and forth. Authoritarian is us, the black people, like, you just gonna do what I say do, and your kid is like, why? And then they confused. So when it comes to white Americans, the communication language is American Standard English, and communication can be long-winded and impersonal. So hey, it is what it is. When it comes to the spiritual piece, religion is a private affair, but mainly Protestant and Bible based. And so when it comes to the values, things you need to be looking for on the exam is capitalism. They think about their future. So when they're working to make sure that their children are taken care of if they become ill or if they die. And so poverty is not a big piece of what they look for, because they thrive to be wealthy, and especially in the end. The physical is all about beauty. It's white skin, blonde hair, and then the body is, sports type thing. They work out. They like sports like baseball, American football, basketball. And when it comes to this, Democrats see that they have freedom and individual rights that other people do not have. And so questions, comments, or concerns about that? About white Americans. Okay. This should be democracy too. So when it comes to American Indian, Alaska Native, for the sake of the test, with the family, it's complex family organization. It could either be blood related, kinship bonds. It could be just whoever. The husband and wife show a tendency to communicate more with their gender group than with each other. So you will see the husband talking to his friends, the wife talking to her friends. These are things you should be familiar with, not for just the sake of the test, but even in real life. But what you have to make sure in real life is, I mean, for the test, it's going to test you to see if you know how to put your biases to the side and focus on your client. And so, also with this, when it comes to communication, they're typically quiet. They're often still. They're not out a lot. They're comfortable in silence. They value listening, and they have a lot of nonverbal communication. So, if you're working with for the sake of the test, you have an American Indian, and they're not talking. You can't be like, "Why you not talking to me?" Because you're going to offend them. And technically, you should know, you should be able to say, hey, I'm not assuming, but I just want to, what I understand is often you don't communicate. Is that true? So you're going to ask open-ended questions. So when you build a rapport in the beginning, you all can get somewhere because you're not going to get anywhere if they're not talking in the session, but you got to be able to know how to let them know you know a little bit about them so that they can feel comfortable. They avoid eye contact. So don't you be like, why he not never look? You writing in your notes, he never looks me in the eye. He must be depressed. No, you're wrong. So you have to know these things. When it comes to the spiritual piece, it's fundamental part of life. They use a lot of traditional Western healing practices. So this is the one on the exam where you're like, they come in and they cut the cow and take the cow blood and put it all on the child eyes because they think the child, you like, hey, you can't do that. You cannot tell them that. But what you can tell them is, we're in the United States. I respect your culture, but this does cause for me to have to report this to Department of Children and Family Safety. And so you just, and that's something you should have been saying up front. If you do something in your disclaimer, I have to call Department of Children and Family Services. They also believe in the medicine man. So again, that's that stuff where their child might fall and they might want to stitch it up on their own, but we can't do that in the United States. When it comes to the values, it's holistic, body, spirit, and heart. So you have to keep that in mind. Questions, comments, or concerns about American Indian? All right. With the Asians, the family, the patriarchal system. So that means who is in charge of everything?
Dr. Sherry,
Huh?
I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when you're talking about the culture before the American Indians, and you were saying like, we're in the United States, you can't stitch your child up. Would
Mm-hmm.
that be assimilation, or if they follow our rules, is that assimilation?
You said if they, so with assimilation, that those are people coming together. Wait, say your question again. I want to make sure I
It's
answer.
like if they're following our rules, they come into this country and then they start to follow our rules. Is that assimilation? It was two
Oh,
terms.
yes.
Acculturation.
And the thing is, you have to. So the realistic piece is, it should be. I don't know if it still is. It's kind of like when you come to the U.S. Well, if you come the correct way, you go through like a class, and to say if everything is touched on, it's not to say, but you are being told that, things that you once did your way, you may not be able to do it in this world. And I would say I worked in a hospital where we had people that came from other states, and they were bringing their kids to the hospital for a chronic, actually cancer, but they were still trying to do traditional stuff, and we had to call, we was calling DCS like every day. But it was, the thing is, if you all tell your clients what DCS really is and not make it as a scare tactic, every time I tell people about DCS, I used to work for DCS. I'm like, it's a resource, and so it's there's benefits to it. And our clients, we had people from everywhere. I can't think of the name right now, but the people that wear the black hats and the white dress. How do I want to say morphines? I can't think of it, but um, they came in, and I mean, we see them and saw them and kept it going, but we let them know, hey, you can't do that. You can't spank your child here, this, that, and the third. This child had a bruise on them, So we had already educated them in the beginning, though, that if something appears that's not by US standards, but it is assimilation, and that's one of the things you face when you decide to move into somebody else's territory. It's just like if we go to somebody else's country, we move to somebody else's country, we got to learn how to abide by their rules. I go to other countries all the time, and I can't go over there just walk. You can't just go around walking naked like you might do here, talking about I'm crazy. That might not fly in Belize. They're gonna arrest you, and you can't be like I'm claiming 504. So you just have to know the rules. You got to drive, can't drive on the opposite side of the street. You go over there, you're gonna create an accident if the traffic. So yes, you do become a part of that.
Thank you.
Asians, the male is often in charge. Communication is often indirect. They're less emotional, less expressive. They're real reserved. I have like four part-time jobs, and I work with an Asian family, and I have issues with walking on people's floors, but I could not walk in their house with my shoes on. They was like, "Take your shoes off." I was like, "No, I can't do this." He was like, "Well, you gonna have to." I called my job. I was like, "Can I get some slippers or something?" He's supposed to like, "No, you got it to take your shoes off." I'm like, "Can I keep my socks on?" So there was some negotiation, but the realistic piece, I offended them, and I knew this, but I got my own issues too. But I negotiated, and I was tiptoeing across their floor because I don't even walk on my own floor without house shoes or something on. So with that being said, they're real reserved, very culture based. Is Confucian and Buddhist. We have a house here in Memphis where they have a whole Buddha on their front lawn. And the neighbors in that neighborhood made complaints, but the city just went ahead and let them do it. The negotiation piece was they had to turn the Buddha facing their door and not facing the main street, because they live on the main street. When it comes to values, they usually seek help from the family or the culture community. But I will tell you, in the real world, they are now venturing outside because they have issues, and the assimilation is making them recognize, you know what, I really do need help. And so they secretly come to another culture for counseling. And remember, Asians on the exam, Asians respond to psychotropic drugs differently from clients of other ethnic groups. You have to know that. Questions, comments, or concerns so far? African Americans. Oh,
Question, Sherry. When you say they respond differently, what would be the response? That it just happens to move through their body quicker because they have like a low body index, like mass?
a major side effect. It could resemble a stroke or heart attack. It just does not settle well with them. They become really, really ill. And so
Because
I
I know,
can't.
like for African Americans, I know one thing was like I think they call it like neutropenia or something. When the Haldol level goes up, then they start to have a drop and a difference. So I'm wondering if it has to do with a pigmentation issue because some of these things are just uniquely just for a racial culture group.
For this, it's not pigmentation. It's more so or less you just can't give them a high dosage of it because they're going to respond. The psychosis will appear even greater. And then, like I said, it could turn into something. It could start looking like a stroke, a heart attack, the hallucinations. And so it's really hard to reverse it. So you just have to know you have to give lower dosages. And the thing is, we're not going into in real life, if they come in our office and they say I take a psychotropic med and I've been feeling really, really sick, I want you to know in real life, we see our clients more than they see a doctor. And so we have to be educated so we can say, what type of medications are you taking again? I know I asked you before, and they start naming off psychotropic meds. You can instantly say, hey, you may be having a major side effect. And you can Google stuff or whatever, but I need you to go see your doctor. And there might be a case where you want to get a release of information so you can truly make sure they went to see the doctor before they come back to you.
I mean, I mean, I live in Staten Island, a predominantly white borough in New York. So we are now starting to get an influx of the Asian population. I've only probably encountered maybe five or six. Some of them were bigger gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
One of them ended on the medical floor, and I really wasn't sure why, but I think it was an adverse reaction to like Haldol.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but typically speaking, like I don't even see them in my psych ward, and I don't know whether it's because some of them are just going to like Brooklyn where there's more
Mm-hmm.
of that population than going to my hospital where there
Probably
isn't much
so.
because maybe they feel like, oh, they're not versed in treating us.
Mm-hmm.
But I've just seen like not many, but in that I think what the only thing that I've encountered with the Asian population sometimes is some BPD issues
Mm-hmm.
and like lack of like adherence to therapeutic like modality, like wanting to go to outpatient care. Like I'm constantly
Mm-hmm.
having to provide psychoeducation of like this is a suicide attempt, like you need to go to therapy. Like that's what the Office of Mental Health and Hygiene. That's been the biggest thing. I've never heard of this, so I'm guessing
Yeah.
it's probably because I've never really encountered it.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, like I said, especially if once you have that population, but for the sake of the test wants us to know because we may not ever work with Asians, but if you do and they're saying something, you need to know that you need to further assess what medications they're taking. And again, I want to clarify, Jessica, it's not that they can't take the medication. We just can't, a doctor should not be giving them the highest dosage of it because that's where the reaction comes in. And it's something dealing with their genetic makeup.
Health insurance, like because I know like they want them off the unit very fast, so they expect like a high
Mhm.
titration.
So they
But with
give a
something like
high
this,
dosage. Yep.
yes. But then I guess that's another thing for me to be able to do when I do like the continued reviews is like, there's a reason why we need to go up so slowly. So where the
Mhm.
the schedule might say they have to go 60 milligrams, 120, maybe they might have to go like at 30, 60, 120 or
Now,
something like
keep in
that.
mind too, we have a lot of Asians now that are mixing with other races, so just be mindful. So somebody that that's why you have to ask questions. A person my client the other day looked black, but I could tell she was mixed with something, and when she said Asian, it just blew me. So you have to ask. Just it said earlier, never assume. So with African Americans, we're the ones where the woman is like the root. She's the backbone. It's not to say that the male does not have a role, but she's the one that keeps everybody in order. She makes the sacrifices. On this for the sake of the test, you will probably see more African American women than African American men. And when it comes to communication, it's direct. They say black people don't hold their tongue back or whatever. There's a history of racism, so a lot of times you will hear a lot of African Americans, not only just in real life, but the sake of the test, they're probably seeing a counselor that looks like them. It's very hard for them to go outside the race because it's still trust issues, especially with politics going on today. It makes it even harder. So, for the sake of the test, you want to know that when it comes to the spiritual piece, they're very religious based. They go to church, and church is a big part of their community, a big part of their life. Just a sidebar, if you ever notice if you're black or attend a black church or predominantly black church during any type of politic in time, you will always see politics come to the church because the church is where a lot of black people just kind of hang out at. So when it comes to the values, strong work orientation, strong religious orientation, even if you don't see that in the world right now, for the sake of the test, this is what the test wants to know. They do not, I be saying they like I'm not black, but I trust the government a little bit. But black people do not trust the government. See, I made y'all laugh, so y'all really gonna remember that now. And there's a thing that's called Big Brother. And so when you hear people talk about Big Brother, they like, I don't trust Big Brother like that. And we don't know who Big Brother is, but he's somebody who made us feel some type of way. And we have a sense of strong pride. Questions about black people. Let's see. So with Native Hawaiian and other Pacific Islanders, there's the Western concept when it comes to the family. It's the immediate family. It's completely aligned to the indigenous. I told y'all I got a messed up tongue, so you'll get it. So remember, a lot of times we use the word indigenous but it really, really applies to the Native Hawaiian, and it applies to the Native Americans too. However, it is like that piece corresponding with the marginalized population. But they said we're all related. So their thing is a Tessa bond cannot be broken. Even when there's death, they're still bonded to that person. So they cherish their ancestors. That's when you see them doing those dances around the fires and stuff like that. They are communicating with their ancestors. And so everything that they do is like this always a beautiful type ceremony. When it comes to communication, they actually speak more languages than anybody else, so they can speak multiple languages, including English. English is like their second language. It does have a major impact on them when it comes to. Remember, Hawaii is the only state in the United States that has been designated as having their own native language. If you've never been to Hawaii, please go. It's beautiful. But they also have their own official languages. So they talk, I want to say, at least 6 different languages. When it comes to the spiritual piece, it again, there's a lot of spirits found in the non-human beings and objects like animals, waves, and skies. So they do a lot of talking to the water, talking to the skies, and things of that nature. They sacrifice animals as well as part of their spiritual belief. When it comes to the values, the importance of culture and welfare, everybody lives together in the community. We all help one man fall down, all men help their person, but they're going to make sure their community is taken care of the way that it should be. Let's see. Questions, comments, or concerns? Hispanic, Latino, when it comes to the family, the extended family system incorporates like godparents and the informal adopted children. They have a family unity rather. And when it comes to the person being in charge, it's often the male. On the exam, you will always see, like African Americans, you're going to see a female. For the Hispanic population on the exam, you will see a male. You will see questions that talk about the whole family came in, the wife kept looking at the man. It does not mean that he is abusing her. They are testing you to see if you understand that he is the first person. You are supposed to look at him, you are supposed to talk to him, and then he gives her permission to speak. So you can still assess for abuse. I'm not saying not to, but for the sake of the question, you need to know this. And in real life, you need to know it too. When it comes to communication, Spanish is their first language, and anything afterwards comes into play. But do not assume that they wish to receive services in native language. I have 3 fluent Spanish speaking clients, and they don't want a Spanish speaking therapist. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Y'all, I'm country. Do you understand what I'm saying? But we have the best relationships. So just, and I always say, so you didn't want, I do it, y'all. I do it. I said, so you didn't want a Hispanic speaking? They're like, nope, did not. So keep that in mind. When it comes to the spiritual concept, Roman Catholic, I learned so much from my clients when they be telling me how they drink and how they party. I'm like, I want to be a part of y'all culture. But I mean, that's how you learn. You ask them questions. I let them know I don't understand everything. They say something, I'm like, what are you talking about? So you can let them know and they will answer regardless of what race or ethnicity. When it comes to values, they believe in the innate worth of the individuals. So that's people are born into their lot in life. Just one second. What? Yes. Sorry, it's my 6-year-old grandson begging for a Pop-Tart. So they respect, it's a respect for dignity or of self and others, respect for elders. So this is also one, just like Asian questions with with the Hispanic population, you are going to see a lot of times where you have to go to the elderly individual as well as the male to get consent for something. Now, keep in mind, if the question says that the person is coming from a Hispanic family and they're 18, they're grown. The grandparents and everybody else want to be involved, but you have to get consent from that 18-year-old to communicate with the family. Questions, comments, or concerns?
Jerry, you can come to my parties.
Oh, you're Hispanic!
I'm Puerto Rican, yes. And if
Girl!
my first
Yes.
language is Spanish, and that was the language that we spoke in the household. And if I were to ever speak in English when they spoke to me in Spanish, I was called a traitor. So, but but also being Puerto Rican, and we're facing the idea of erasure, it became more important to speak the language. So I'm a second generation, but I was raised like a first generation. So I
Mhm.
was one of very few of my friends in school to speak Spanish fluently.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
that's also been like, it's helpful too, but it's also keeping me in touch and grounded on why it's so important to see representation.
Mhm.
Because there's not many Latino women. I mean, there is a 8% of a margin of us getting our C, and only 63% pass on their first try. So there is a disparity in whether how many Latinos take it and then are actually able to obtain the C. So that's like one thing that I remind myself is like, there's not going to be a lot of opportunities. Like, there's not going to be a lot of me's out there that want to do it. We're mostly case managers, to be honest, because we don't have the money or the ability to go to master school. So I take like being a part of community work very like
It's
serious.
serious. Yeah.
But I have to say, like, yeah, 100%. Like, yes, the male is often looked to in the family, but in many cases, it's the women are like the unsung heroes of the family. But you will get like the family that'll have like a 21-year-old that's going through a first break, and then like everybody's involved, and the
Wow.
idea of like, well, yeah, we still need consent, but
Yeah.
like understanding that culture is it's unique within itself.
It's evolving, I will say, and thanks for sharing it because you made some important points. And I will say this, the and this comes from the NASW. Actually, this exam is hard for, first of all, social work is primarily a female thing, but this exam is hard for anyone that's not Caucasian. So the black women, we don't pass this. I took the exam, the LC, 13 times before I passed. And it's because we don't, just like the Hispanic population, we're not taught and we don't learn the same way. And our questions, believe it or not, are written by predominantly white people. And so for black women, we like go to college and then we sit out for a while and then we go to grad school. And so everything looks different. We probably didn't get our master's in social work in undergrad. So it's way, way harder when we get ready to start taking the exam for LM and et cetera. And the same thing applies to the Hispanic population. So thanks for sharing that. Y'all, it's not us. We know this stuff. And then we have to unlearn everything that we have learned so that we can pass the exam. So just stay strong.
I also want to
Be,
add about the
Mhm.
whole we don't want a translator thing. It's so true because sometimes the accent, oftentimes our parents are afraid of us being typecast. And I can't even tell you how many times I've had to like even like check off the box that another language is spoken at home. And
Mhm.
before we even ask me the question, they're already having somebody speak to me in Spanish, and it's an absolute trigger to me. I'll have the whole conversation in Spanish and then say I want this done completely in English just to prove a point.
Wow.
Because it's
Wow.
almost like if you have an accent, they almost expect you to not know your rights, and you
Yeah.
obviously you get railroaded. But it's very very difficult. Like when you say that you speak Spanish, and then we don't get a language differential too. In many of these jobs, they will not give you a language differential, but they'll lean heavily on your language ability.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that. And that's where it comes in place. Do not assume. Never. That's one thing that exam wants us to know. So when it comes to the effects of discrimination and stereotypes on behaviors, attitude, and identity, things that you should remember is the negative impact of discrimination can be seen on both the micro and the macro level. So that's whether it's individually or if it's community based. And remember, meso is just in between. And so the impacts can be long term or short term. And things that we're looking at on the exam is when our clients come to us and they're all those cultures we just got through, or races and ethnicities we just got through talking about, you're assessing for low self esteem, fear of rejection, stress, humiliation, fear, depression, all of that. And remember, when it comes to those things I just named, the impacts can be long term or short term, and it could be loss of motivation. So once somebody becomes depressed and their motivation is gone, they're hopeless. That's when we start assessing for suicide and things of that nature. You hear people talking like, I don't belong, I don't fit in, I should have never came to this country. So you have that long-term depression, you have restricted opportunities. We just got through talking about that. So when we're looking at the diversity as a whole, when it comes to those discrimination pieces, it leads to all of this. If somebody has a lack of education, they're not going to achieve and they're not going to do well when it comes to a job. So it's always issues. We just talked about the difficulties with communicating. We're in the United States, so you're supposed to know how to speak English. That's how the USA looks at things. I want you to know when it comes to the macro level, discrimination also restricts access to resources. So that's the bigger piece. So of course, if you're not legally here on a macro level, you cannot get housed and you cannot receive SNAP benefits and any other resources that's out there that's needed for health, education. You're scared to go to school. When we had the issue that was going on, we had here in Memphis, we had ICE here. And I mean, like, I have friends that are teachers. They was like, Sherry, none of our Hispanic kids came to school for like 4 months. So those are things that plays in. Employment on a macro level is affected, social support, participation in sports, culture, and civic activity. So that is on a macro level. Questions, comments, or concerns? So the influence of sexual orientation on behaviors, attitudes, and identity, and we're still talking about diversity and discrimination. So with sexuality, this is a critical part of who we are. When it comes to sexual orientation, sexual behavior, and sexual identity, those are three parts of sexuality. This is also us going into the LGBTQI plus in essence as well. But this help people to understand the term better. So you have to know what sexual orientation is, sexual behavior, and sexual identity. Because again, there's three parts of sexuality. Now, sexual orientation refers to an individual pattern of physical and emotional arousal towards other persons or people. So remember, people do not choose their sexual orientation. This is how you came in the world. Now, granted, you will have a lot of your clients from the LBG, especially transgender, that's going to say, I made a choice. But by law, we have to respect that. And for the sake of the test, it's teaching us just to be mindful of these terms so that we can better assist our clients. Sexual behavior refers to our actions. It's important to realize that people's sexual orientation may not fit their sexual behavior. So I could be female, but out here trying to hump people like I'm a male or something. So you have to be mindful of that when it comes to the sake of the test and the sake of us serving our people in real life. Sexual identity, it may be different to the sexual orientation. Sexual identity is about the way people present. So, yes, I may be female. I may look like a female, but I may feel like I'm a male. So, I identify as a male, although I look like a female. And once I tell you, hey, don't keep calling me Miss Ma'am, call me Mr. Sir, that's what I need you to do. Questions, comments, or concerns?
I have a comment. So I just found out, like with insurance, you know how some people in some states you can get X on your license.
Mm-hmm.
So I got an X on my license, and then when they went to run my insurance, they kept denying my insurance. My therapist said they keep denying your insurance because they don't know if you're a man or a woman. You know, so like although the license you can put X, you can't do that for insurance. So
And
yeah.
you know it's for documentation purposes because theoretically, if we're born as female, we identify as male. For insurance, especially health insurance, the the body genetics are different, even with the even after surgeries. So it costs more to be a woman than it costs to be a man, believe it or not. You know, that's just like when it comes to everybody say, why the man just can't go get snipped? Because as the female, it's just so much to go through if you go get your tube tied versus, and it's cheaper to get snipped as a male than to get your tube tied as a female. So that's where the disparity comes in at because women cost more than men. And so the thing is, it's just some areas where I think it's not that they're not recognizing your ex, but for financial purposes, they need that real information. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, we have to remember we're still in a world where, regardless, LBGT been going on for years, y'all. My best friend, mama was a lesbian when I was 3. You know, so I don't know, but because of religion, and most definitely if you live in the South like myself, I live in Tennessee, right there on the Mississippi River. It's just people don't accept it. So I always tell people you just have to meet everybody where they are and respectfully, everyone should just respect each other. But with that being said, sexual orientation it's not neatly fit into our world now. And so that's why you have so many people, I'm not getting political, but you have a lot of people that are not Trump supporters, but they're like, I support when he talks about this population. The same thing when Obama was president. You had a lot of people like, I like him, but I don't like that he did that. So just keeping in mind, it doesn't fit neatly into a label or a category. Sexual orientation can be fluid. This is something you're going to see on the exam as well. Fluid means the gender what one identifies with is not fixed. That means if I tell you at 10 o'clock, I'm a man at 10 o'clock. If I tell you at 10:30, I'm a female, at 10:30, I'm a female. I don't care how confusing it is to you, it ain't confusing to me. You just go with the flow, go along with it. And that's how I need to be on the exam. And this is what the exam wants you to understand that it does not mean people grow out of the sexual attractions or that one set of feelings was a stage. Because everybody say it's just a stage that they going through, it's a phase they going through. It just means that people change. So that's what the test wants us to understand. It is important to not use labels and let individuals, you have to let that individual define their own sexual orientation. Questions, comments, or concerns? On the exam, what you're going to often see, it wants to make sure you understand that fluid is your client can go back and forth of their own choosing. The exam also wants you to know when it comes to discrimination for the LBGT plus, discrimination can occur in a setting that is I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna come back and say something else. So if there's a setting that's receiving government funds, it can be discrimination. And discrimination is just kind of like what Mastermind and I was talking about, because those agencies are receiving government funds, they're not private based. Sometimes there are clauses. It's just things in writing that says you cannot at this agency you cannot let somebody from the LBG adopt. You might see that a lot on the exam, but if it's a private setting, then you just go ahead and go with the flow, because private settings may not have those real fine restricted rules as a non-private setting has. Did I confuse anybody? Because what I just said shows up on the exam. No confusion. Okay, let's keep rolling. Trans, you will see also is transgender. This is where an individual has, I'm gonna use myself, I'm a female, and I go and I have surgery to look like a male. And so that's by choice. And again, that's one of those insurance things, mastermind. Um, you will see, you have to understand with transition, with the transgender population, there's a lot of hormone therapy. And because there's hormone therapy and surgery, a lot of times this is where you see the definition of or the diagnosis of body dysphoria given to a client. And it means that a person is just not happy with who they are. But guess what, y'all? It ain't just the trans. It's Nicki Minaj and Michael Jackson and everybody else. So if you want to remember this, remember it that way. It's anybody that starts having surgeries and they just keep going and going and going. But for the sake of the transgender piece, it has a lot to do with the hormone therapy, which is very expensive. Hormone therapy also changes a person's mental capacity, which is a lot of times why they have to seek therapy, which is why you have to have knowledge about this population. Because if your client comes in a transgender stage, and they're having a lot of psychosis, it may be the medication because the body is trying to adjust to the new life. So keep that in mind. Questions, comments, or concerns? Because people are like, why we gotta know this? This is why. No more excuses. You use all your excuses up. I told you you can have a Pop Tart. We had a whole conversation before I started class. Okay, when I get done, when I stop talking to them, I'll talk to you. Okay. So when it comes to friends and family, y'all, he's 6 and he do this every time. Mastermind, no, she had me before. He do this every time.
That's okay. My 4 year old on side of me, she keep coming back for Mom, can you fix me that? My
Eh,
husband, he over here fixing her food, and she asked me, can you taste it? You want to chew it? So I
That's
understand.
that's what they do. So when it comes to the friends and family response, one thing you won't see in my script right here, but it is not our job to go out there. It's called outing. It is not our job to tell what's going on with that person. It's their job to go and tell the world what's going on, whether they're transgender, lesbian, gay. The word queer is still used, y'all. I have a client. She's in a whole nother state and she is only 20 and she refers to herself as queer. Now, just 5 years ago, I was told I couldn't use the word queer anymore. So again, it goes on. You don't use assumptions and you ask a person how they identify. So, lesbian, transgender, gay, bisexual, asexual, cisgender,
Pan,
queer. Which one?
pansexual.
Pansexual. Yes, those are the ones we need to know.
Would we see non-binary? Because I know that's like a big thing now. Okay,
Not
just
on the
want to be sure.
exam yet.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, Again, I roll on the exam for transgenders. We have to help them through that process mentally, emotionally. And so we can also help family members by asking occasionally, especially if it's a young individual, someone under 18, we can ask them to allow their parents to come to sessions so that we can do an educational piece with the family. Let's see, it's 7 o'clock. I'm gonna pause here and then I will come back. Questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, let me go here. So does everyone know what a genogram is?
Yeah, is
Is
that
that where
what?
you're mapping out the family relationships and strains?
Yes. Very important. A very important piece of this chapter as well. It came up and then it went down. Okay, here it goes. And this is actually something all of us should have done in undergrad as well as grad school. If you have not done it, I strongly suggest that you do take the time to do one because this actually assists you a lot of times, especially when you're dealing with families. You can kind of educate them and be on the same page, because theoretically things that we do with our clients, we are supposed to be competent about it. And sometimes it just takes the ideal of knowing what's going on in your own world. Now it told me you all can see this, but can you see it? Oh, okay. Because it has a tendency to tell me stories over here now. It's so small. No. But this is a genogram. Y'all, I'm trying to make it big. Is it real small? It's real small. Is it bigger now?
Yeah, it's bigger.
Okay. So, in essence, what you need to know about a genogram is, as mentioned before, it helps us focus on not only just strengths, but complex, any type of issues in the family. So, when you have your family come in, you have them to do this genogram. And the genogram goes all the way back. You can go back to great grandparents. A lot of people just starts with the grandparents. Remember, paternal, that's dad's side, and maternal, that's mama's side. And so, part of my clients' homework when they come in with trauma and things of that nature, the first thing when they say stuff like, I don't know my mama, or I don't like my mama, I get them a genogram. Because this, as their homework assignment, it makes them write out and it makes them start processing and thinking. And in it, there's little symbols you use, the O for female, the square for male, deceased with the X, date of birth, divorce, lines, slashes, and all that other stuff. Also, when they do the genogram and they come back to sessions, it gives us an opportunity to talk through what they know about their individual. And then they really start saying, you know what, I act like a whole just like my granddad. I had somebody say that in the session, y'all. I'm just repeating what I heard. I was like, well, I'm glad to recognize this where it comes from, why you just want to sleep with everybody. So it really allows you and that client to have an open conversation without it seeming like you're judging them. Questions, comments, or concerns? You would be amazed with your client. When you start working them for over a year, they tell you their whole life, who they slept with, how they slept. You just have to listen with a straight face sometimes. So yeah. The opposite of that is, anybody want to take a jab at it? Or not the opposite, but like the step cousin to a genogram is what?
Ecogram?
Yep. What is the eco map?
Eco map is now you're mapping out the person with various systems in their life. So what's like their church or social support. So you're actually like looking at more not family but concrete social supports and other stressors.
Have y'all ever done an eco map?
I have.
Okay.
I
Well,
actually
yeah.
have my interns do both when we analyze a patient.
Okay, yes. And it comes in handy. And I will make sure that you get, let me see. You know what? Let me just show it to you. On the exam, you could potentially see it as an answer choice. Genogram actually comes up more. This screen sharing is paused. This is getting a little freaky. Mastermind, I'm kind of like you now. We're going to think positive though.
Oh, you got me thinking. I sure hope you ain't
Yeah.
getting hacked while we on the Zoom.
I'm like, wait a minute. It has never, now it's done a lot of things, but it never said it's paused. Okay. I most definitely don't want to be hacked on my end at all. I got too much to lose. Too much
Dr.
hard work.
Pam was hacked this week and I couldn't do a session with her.
That's what we was actually referring to. Cause I mean, I'm still linked to, this is her stuff, her account, but yeah. So you will see the word either ego map or ecogram on the exam. I mean, you'll see genogram more so as a part of the vignette, but your answer choices could be ecogram or eco map. So just be mindful. A genogram is a graphic portrayal of the composition and the structures of one family, whereas an eco map is the graphic portrayal of family personal relationships. So that's everything as a whole. So it's just kind of like the person in the environment. If you all are familiar with the person in the environment, this is what an eco map is like. You want to know, how's your church? How does your church affect you? I have a client started seeing me a few weeks ago because she was hurt by the church. She was just like, I believed in the church. I've done good. She said, I believed in the church when the church shamed my mama and my daddy. And now she's starting to hate the church because something just happened to her. So these are very important questions to ask. The healthcare. How has the healthcare hurt you? A lot of African American women who have had babies, they're afraid of the healthcare system because they had 8 children. They go in the hospital. Doctors just tying them up. Like, I ain't asked for my tools to be tied. So these are things you have to know. And this is why you have to know it from a culture standpoint, because you have to understand, why do black women not like to go to the doctor when they have babies? They having them at home. And also real life is still happening now. Black women go to the hospital and give birth. They die after birth, childbirth, quicker than any other population. And so you have to know, how are people getting along with their relatives, how they feel about the government. So this is all the things. Do you have friends? Do you get along with your boss at work? How did you do in school? This is what the eco map is about. Questions, comments, or concerns, and it's not to be mistaken with the person and the environment, the PIE. No questions? Okay. Amazing grace.
It's helpful
Let's
in
see.
identifying protective and risk factors too.
It is. Yep. So I'm about to pull. I went over that. So these are a few little pointers that I want to bring to your attention before we actually do some real questions. So far, Mastermind, what have you gotten in 2 minutes? What have you gotten so far?
Um, Let me look at my notes.
Just spill it out. You only have
Well,
two
hold
minutes.
the eco map and the genogram. When she said the eco map, she put them in systems, and I understood that better because I didn't
Okay.
really know that. So I got that. Another thing I got is with the Asian population, the different medicine, or how they metabolize things different. So,
Mhm.
we have to be mindful and ask.
Yep. Miss Hill, 2 minutes. What have you gotten so far?
Yes. What stuck out with me again, sorry to piggyback off of Mastermind with the Asians, how they metabolite the different medications. I instantly
Mhm.
thought of African Americans with lisinopril.
Mhm.
So like I've been trying lately to just like find like little correlations with things of that nature. Also, you did say um correlation earlier, how like that would pop up. So that was on my mind.
Okay. All right. Jessica, 2 minutes.
The Asian population stuff was really interesting to me as somebody who works in a psych ward, but
Mhm.
also it's because it's not a population that I tend to see a lot.
Mhm.
And I guess that just happens to be location. And the other stuff is kind of like just reaffirming like my own social norms. It's like the literature is actually matching with how I grew up. So I thought that was pretty interesting too.
So you need to tell those researchers they on top of it. And
Because
thanks
there's
for
probably one
confirming
Latino in there. So they were like, we're gonna set it's like because when you see the name Jessica Bruno Matlack or just Jessica Bruno, you're thinking it's like, oh, this is a white name. But like, I'm as country as a Puerto Rican can be. So, we can like you talk about like the baby and the cow blood, like we're talking about chickens getting chopped up and like cleaning out a house. You
Yeah.
know, so I just think that type of stuff is kind of like it's interesting because it allows you to understand your clients a
Yeah.
little bit more.
Miss
The difference
Cornisha,
between
before I
empathy
come to
versus
you,
sympathy.
it
Yeah.
helps. Yes. I went to Belize and I've been in Puerto Rico too, but I was just amazed when I went to Belize because I was like, they're Puerto Rican. They was like, no, we're black. And I was like, no, y'all Puerto Rican. And they was
And
like,
some
ma'am,
of them
how
speak
you gonna come over here
Spanish.
and tell us we Puerto Rican? But they're Puerto Rican. They look Puerto Rican, but when you ask them, they don't even identify. Wrong word. They're like, no, ma'am, I'm black. I'm like, oh, okay.
I have an issue too when I have to check off a box because it's either African American or white, and I'm like, is there no middle? So I don't know. I usually just go with African American to be honest, only because that's where the culture really stems from. It doesn't stem like anything that we have that's white is from imperialism. But it was always a struggle. And then you get the white Latino, and I'm like, eh.
Miss Cornisha, what have you gotten so far?
So a lot of with the different cultures in New Orleans, we have you can see like fish bowls similar to New York, but um what struck out to me was the Asian. But I read the entire Dawn Apgar and the iLeap book. And
Yes.
to me, the iLeap book was more explanatory with all the different races. And to me, what you provided was similar to the iLeap. However, also with the eco map and the geno, I'm already familiar with the geno and the eco. It's just I've never seen it in person. We don't have to do it. I work with the homeless population. A lot of times it's just providing case management and immediate resources. I never thought of doing it. I think that would be a bonus. I might start doing it. I don't know.
It helps.
That was amazing. And the correlation, just like Miss Aquan said, Aquan, I'm sorry, I don't want to say it wrong. But when you mentioned that struck something to me also, as far as even when she was mentioning the assimilation, as far as with the culture, and identifying the difference or integrating the different styles of culture, I guess. So yeah, it was a lot.
Okay.
I've been watching y'all the last few weeks, the last month. Mastermind, I've been here with you, praying for you. Jessica, you're amazing. You talk fast, but I've gotten to know y'all before we got on here. And I forgot your name, but you're amazing. You're amazing, all of
Thank
y'all. And I'm just happy to be
you.
here with y'all.
Thank you. Well, welcome to our world,
Well, when
girl.
she got hacked the other day, I had to jump on board. I said, "Oh, I'm missing my video. Let me
Now you
repeat."
gotta get on. Okay,
Yeah,
so that was a plus side of it.
yeah.
We will do some questions, but y'all, this premenopause is kicking my butt. I went from the heat to now I gotta turn on the fan. I don't know what's going on. That's why our bills cost more, mastermind. They're like, we gotta get y'all hormone medicine, you're sweating.
We just high
So
maintenance. We high maintenance.
So I briefly want to go through some stuff. And Miss Cornisha, I only teach from AppGuard. This is all what I just went over was all AppGuard stuff. I bow down to AppGuard. I think between AppGuard and Dr. Pam, that's how I passed my exam. Yes. So where we are now, we're just going to briefly go through some stuff, but this is information from Pocket Prep. And I always tell all of my individuals to use Pocket Prep. So I am going to show you the benefit from Pocket Prep and only use the free version. But like this was the question of the day. Which of the following most closely describes gender identity? And so there are three choices. And I am going to start with Jessica. Is it A, B, or C? You want just answer A, B, or C. You got 3 more seconds, Jessica.
Oh, I don't know. C.
Okay. Mastermind, A, B, or C?
This the same question?
Uh-huh.
A pattern of physical behavior, attraction to others, gender identity. I would say B.
B. Okay. Cornisha, A, B, or C?
Oh Lord, I didn't know you was gonna pick me soon. I would say
2 more seconds.
I'm feeling C.
Okay. C. Just C.
All right, C.
Miss Hill.
I said the wrong
No, I didn't say the answer. I was just telling her just C. Okay, Miss Hill, what's the answer? What you think the answer is?
I'm gonna go with A.
Okay. So we're gonna read this again. Which of the following most closely describes gender identity? You guys must thought I was playing. What did I say earlier? I am going to test you.
He gave us 2 seconds, Dr. Schiff.
Yeah, that's all you need on the
I got extra time.
exam.
Too.
But here you are, individual's personal sense of gender. Gender identity, which typically forms in most children around the age of 3. This is what Eric Erickson talks about, is defined as an individual personal sense of gender. And there are many conversations that revolve around one's gender identity nowadays. But when it comes to sex roles, which you have to remember, that's the social or cultural expectation and beliefs of a male or female. So sex roles is what everybody just, because they know you got a vagina, they're like, hey, you're a female. Because they know you got a penis, they're like, hey, you a male. Because you're a hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodites are still classified as females, though. Did y'all know that?
I
So,
didn't.
yeah, you
Did
did.
not.
Yeah.
I thought we
Only
were just calling them intersex and whatever they were identifying as.
only reason how I knew that is because when I ran track, we had one lady, and and they made her run in female. That's the only reason how I knew that.
Yep. They don't get to choose. It's already chosen for them at birth. And for sexual orientation, it is a pattern of physical behavior and attractions to others. So just remember about orientation. When you think about sexual orientation, it's like how I feel about this person. Yeah, I'm not gay, but sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, she is so beautiful. And if I was gay, I'd try to hit on her. So I mean, that's just what sexual orientation feels like and looks like.
So is that what Dr. Pam be like, whoever gets your juices flowing?
That's who get your juices flowing. And it really is. It does not mean, it's just that feeling you have for a person at the moment. Does not mean, but everybody don't act on their feelings. Yep. I see there's a girl on Facebook. She is drop dead good. She's like from Africa. She's like this dark. So you see how I'm explaining her? I'm blushing over here just describing her. But that's not my preference. It's just she catch my attention when I see her on Facebook, and I sit there, I be sleeping, and I'm sitting there looking at her walking down the street on Facebook, like harassing this girl or something. So these are things I want you, just notes, and they're all coming from Pocket Prep. Just remember, if you have let me try to make this bigger. If
I'm a
you
little
have a
closer.
family, it's still little.
I'm blind, so it's all right.
I'm trying. I I don't. I'm working from a laptop, and so I know sometimes it does show smaller if you're looking from a phone. But I'll read it, and you'll have access to it. So, what if you have a immigrant family who are afraid to accept free mental health, thinking it would impact their immigration status? What I want you to remember when you see something like this on the exam, you have to acknowledge their feelings. That question was, or that statement was filled with feelings. They're afraid. So there's fear. So the first thing you're going to do is you're just going to say, hey, you're not going to force them to take these services. They could be dying. But if they're telling you, ma'am, sir, I am not going to a mental health, this person that I'm seeing can just keep chasing me till I run in front of a car and die. But I'd rather do that than to get in trouble with the law. So make sure you explore their feelings and you do not force them to go anywhere. Did that make sense? You will see something like that on the exam. Something else you would see on the exam if you're working with a gay kid. This should be kid, and he's being bullied at school, and he does not want to tell his parents because they do not accept him being part of the LGBTQ plus community. Your role is, again, you will validate his feelings, because bully is a feeling. That's a feeling of fear. And if you remember, Dr. Pam always talk about the social worker process, helping process. That's assess, plan, intervention, evaluation, and termination. When you're assessing somebody in the beginning, you're asking them questions. And if they say, I'm being bullied and I'm afraid, now that's a fear. And a fear can turn into a safety issue. So you always have to address feelings and safety when you assess. And if that person, in this particular case, he's saying he's been bullied at school, he's afraid to tell his parents because they don't accept him as a part of the LGBTQ plus. Your role is to validate his fears and then help him create a safety plan in school. So what you're going to do is say, okay, if these kids bully you again, you're going to go find school security, or you're going to come back to me. But if you can't get to me, let's put something real in place. And remember, you don't plan for the client, you plan with the client. So you're going to allow him to tell you things that he think he can do for safety at school as well. And please do not call his parents, because now you are putting him in jeopardy. Questions, comments, or concerns? Something else you will see on the exam. So you have a Latina client, and she's telling you that I swear this thing does not, her boss is, that didn't look right. You caught it. Y'all caught it. So this is what happens when
she was the community too.
Oh, okay. We all laughing. So y'all still here with me. So you have a Latina client. Jessica didn't catch it because she looking like, what they laughing at? It was a typo, Jessica. I could have got in trouble for it.
Boob.
It was balls. So you have a Latina client and she's telling you that her boss is talking about exotic stuff. He's always talking about her accent, which makes her uncomfortable. So she's afraid she's going to lose her job. This is where that harassment stuff comes in at work, and her job is what helps her support her family. So as a social worker, you're gonna first assist her. If something says, what should you do first? Again, you got to validate those feelings. I made this stuff repetitive for a reason, because a lot of times when they say first, we miss what it said in the vignette. It's already told us the person's scared, da 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 this. What should you do first? Now, after you validate if it says you've already validated their feelings in the vignette, what should you do next? You're going to tell her to file a complaint, so, but in this particular case, you're going to validate the feelings, you're going to explore for safety, because she fears that she's going to lose her job now. And this is the part where the social worker, you're again using that APATI, assess, plan, intervention, evaluation, and termination. You're going to also know any type of, you want to make sure there's no false behaviors, which is called microaggression. And that's where she's just like, at this point, this is where not only the boss, but when you see, like, if it's a supervisor or you as the therapist, we have the upper role. And so our clients are afraid of us. When you see a supervisor and a supervisee, the supervisee is afraid of the supervisor. When you see a client at a job, she's afraid of her boss. So that's what that microaggression is. And so you got to make sure you're getting her in a safe point. And you also going to teach your client how to be empowered, to make sure they know what to do or understand their rights at work. You let her know, girl, if this gets out of hand, you need to take this to HR. And if HR don't do anything, but you got to remember, you got to teach a person how to follow the chain of command. Questions, comments, or concerns? And you have to talk back, because she's talking to you because she trusts you. So another thing you might see on the exam is you are a social worker who's encouraging a client to develop a support network, because the goal is for them to enhance emotional well-being. So the intervention that aligns with the level in Maslow hierarchy. Do anybody want to take a jab at this one? You know what the intervention is? Maslow talks about when you help a client when you encourage a client to develop a support network, because they're focusing on enhancing emotional well-being.
The only thing I remember is self-actualization.
What else? You don't remember anything else? Because it is
That's
you
client
close.
centered.
Their physical needs,
What else?
love and what is the next one? Oh,
Love and belong.
It's social,
there you go.
y'all.
Something belong.
Yep. It's the social. Um, but look what it says. There is self-actualization, but it involves achieving a state of personal growth and reaching one's full potential in the area of safety. Whereas social is developing sources of support that aligns with the social level of Maslow hierarchy. These are things that you all see on the exam, you all. So you have to know. But y'all was close. Now, based on Eric Erickson, according to the theoretical orientation, something that a 15 that you can least expect a 15-year-old to do, and that's to complete a project that they start on. So when your clients come to you and be like, my 15-year-old don't do their homework, they used to make all A's and B's, and my 15-year-old, he don't ever take out he'll pull the trash out the trash can, but leave it at the back door and don't take it and put it in the, because Eric Erickson has already told us that when they 15, they start projects and they don't complete them. It's not that this child needs therapy. It's just that the parent needs to understand how we go through growth and development. This is something that you will see on the exam. So far, questions, comments, or concerns? I hope this
Nope,
is
this specifically matched my 15-year-old. So yeah.
You're like, they lazy, but when you think of my partner always complained about my kids. And I said, dude, what were you? So our 18-year-old has fell in love with some girl and it's driving everybody crazy because he take her paycheck and spend it on her. But we have to say, I said, what was you doing at 18? Out buying flowers and taking home dinner. So why is it a crime for him to do it at 18? But that's why we have to remind this is what Eric Erickson want us, or this is what the exam want us to be able to understand when when we're doing family therapy and it's talking about the kids, the teens, we have to be able to educate the parents about what stage of life they're in and let them know, honey, you ain't the only person going through this. It's real, y'all. It's not just an exam, it's real. And when you pass your exam, I see everything. If you read APGAR book, everything in APGAR book is everything I deal with clients every day. So this one here is something else that you would see. You have a social worker that notices that a 7-year-old begins to understand that other people have different perspectives. This milestone signals a transition into which of Piaget stages of cognitive development. And if anybody ever had me in an individual session, I always say Piaget work is like SPCF. Anybody use sunscreen lotion? What's on the bottle? What's the initials that's on the bottom, Miss Hill?
PSF.
Yep,
Yeah.
SPF. So
PSF.
I
There
always
you
say,
go.
think about sunscreen lotion when you think about Piaget, just add the C. SPCF. You have sensomotor, pre-op, concrete, and formal. And so when it comes to a 7-year-old who start thinking, you be like, man, my baby was 6 last year and did everything I said. Now he's 7 and he want to argue with me like he just got his own personality. He do. That's what we just need to know that he do. He got his own personality. And if he know it's 7, then you really need to have him tested. And these are things that we say to our clients in real life. Yes, Miss Hill, you have a question?
Oh
I
no.
think,
Did I point it up? Did I point my
it's
hand
Miss
up?
Cornisha that has a question.
Oh,
Okay, I'm sorry, Miss Hill.
it's okay.
Well, I've seen a question as of probably a week ago, and it stated an 8-year-old was still doing things, I guess, in the what is the word? The 8-year-old was still it was acting the 8-year-old was still doing things as if he was still in a pre-operational stage. And this 7-year-old is displaying signs that he's growing, developing into the concrete stage. So I guess in the beginning, I guess the in between, they can still be bouncing back and forward. Is that
So
what they're saying?
that's
Oh,
what
you know what comes to mind while I'm talking about this? And one of the videos with Dr. Pam, she stated that some people don't make it to the formal stage.
there you go.
So, okay, it makes sense now. I'm
There
sorry. I
you
had
go.
to talk it through.
That's
I had to
why.
talk it through.
So I'm glad you brought this up. We teach you all to recognize ages, sex, location, but not memorize. When you memorize, you're not going to get it. When you truly understand it, you understand it. Because what happens is what you just saw, you'll be like, but he's 8, so he's supposed to be in a concrete state. But if you read the vignette, he's 8, but he's not developmentally where he needs to be. So no, he's still pre-op. You're gonna always move in life and age until you die. But you can be stuck in a stage, whether it's Margaret Mailer, Colbert, Pia J, Eric Erickson. So remember, you will always move in age, but you could be a 15-year-old that's in pre-op because you have delays. And that's why I just made the comment. If your 7-year-old is not in a concrete state, this is a vignette question that you need to know how to tell the parents. You need to go and have your child tested because this is where they should be right now. So you got that 7-year-old, you say, if you throw a rock at a glass house and they're like, oh my God, you're not supposed to throw rocks at glass. Something is wrong because they should be able to know by now. That's just like a cliche. So those are things you look out for. Also, that's where the pre-op comes in at with sensor motor. Margaret Mailer, autistic movement. If our kids aren't passing those stages, we as social workers should be able to tell our clients, Mr., ma'am, your baby is 6 and they can't even talk. It's, there may be a diagnosis of autism that you need to look at. And if you're an LCSW, you can give that provisional diagnosis until further test is done to actually secure that diagnosis. So questions, comments, or concerns?
Yeah, I had no clue. Well, she had me not. I'm learning about the theories, which I've read and I thought I knew up until I started watching y'all videos. I'm sorry. It's like this is a whole new world,
Yeah, it
and
is.
it is. It got me thinking to a whole nother level. I've taken this exam twice and I failed both of them 1 point. When I first got to 1 point, I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, well, it got to be something I'm missing. And I'm like, I'm not scheduling it again up until I figure out what it is I'm missing. And since I've joined y'all videos, and I just feel like, oh my God, I really was not prepared. Or maybe I was, and I just still needed
You
some
was
more.
prepared.
I don't
And
know.
I'm the bearer of bad news. You was prepared off of memorization.
Hmm.
And you can miss it by 1 point every time. I always have to tell my clients in individual sessions, baby, that means you don't have it. You're just
Right.
memorizing, but when you learn it, and when you miss it by 1 point, you like, be God. You see
Hmm.
it totally different. I tell people when you start eating and drinking social work, when your family starts saying, here she come, like I'm one of her
Hmm.
clients, you're getting it. I have a dietitian, and she said when I stop talking about food, that means I got it. And this weekend, I realized I didn't have it because we was out, and I was like, "Oh, that baked potato sure do smell good," but I know my dietitian would want me to eat it. But I'm still talking about food, so I don't have it yet. And so that's the thing. Memorization is where you are now,
Hmm.
but you're getting there. We gonna teach you how to unlearn all that stuff you would learn. So you would see me on YouTube. Y'all be seeing
I'm telling you, I'm on it every week.
me.
I'm waiting on the next one to come. I'm waiting on that. And when Friday hit, I was like, oh goodness, what
I
is
didn't know my
going
contraceptive out there on YouTube.
on?
Okay.
Yeah. All of
So
y'all, I'm here with all of you. I've been looking and listening to y'all during. I watched a whole 2 hours plus.
thank you. Thank you for trusting us. Remember, the formal operational stage involves the ability to think abstractly and hypothetically, which is not what's described. So I hope my boyfriend will never see these because I be throwing shade on him in these videos because y'all, he still think on a pre-op level sometimes. But I use it to make y'all laugh. So what I want to do is stop here and I'm about to do some questions. This is the order because I would not remember. On my screen, I see Jessica first, Mastermind second, Miss Hill third, and Miss Cornisha, you're fourth. So when I pull these questions up, that's how y'all gonna go. So questions, comments, or concerns while we have this break? Now I got the air on my arthritis acting, but I just can't win for losing. I'm sweating and hurting at the same time. So the questions that we are about to do, they're going to be culture competence questions. And if you've seen them before, that's even better because now you get to test yourself to see if you was going by memorization or if you really know it. Okay. Who's first?
Me. You said you
Okay.
saw me skirt first. Um, When considering Native American customs and developing treatment plans or service planners should understand that one, all Native Americans have the same culture and the differences are minor. That's not true. Two, there are important reasons that Native Americans never integrated into American culture. Three, with more than 500 tribal groups, there is a substantial culture and social differences among Native American groups. Four, is important for Native Americans to separate from the traditional culture if they want to succeed economically. Three,
Why three, Jessica?
because there's several tribes. I think everybody has the different nuances. I forget the exact number, but you were talking about how some of them were different nuances between the other ones.
Y'all, Jessica got it right. So clap it up for Jessica.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank
you
you.
wait a minute. Did you just guess on it?
Listen, I'm using the process of elimination. That's what's
Oh,
going to
you
get me through this.
did it. Okay, but you was paying attention too because you was able to give the rationale. Yep, that's what's going on there. So I'm not gonna say memorize this, but do keep in mind when considering Native American customs that there's more than 500 tribes groups out there. So that's what's going on. Let's go to number two. And also, when you all are reading, if you need to read twice, please do so. But I want to hear you take away two and keep two. If it's for the most part, these are poor choices. Okay, who's next?
All right. The positive cultural value that is expressed in ideals of machismo is one, masculinity, two, family provider and protector, three, power and control, four, cooperation. So it has nothing to do with masculinity and it has nothing to do with power and control. The answer is two, family provider and protector,
Why is it two?
because that's what that word means, according to Dr. Pam.
That is correct. Everybody clap it up for Mastermind. Okay, you heard Dr. Pam in your ear.
Yes.
All right, y'all doing good. And even if we don't get it right, we just practicing. Number three.
When an interpreter is needed to conduct a social work interview, the least appropriate person is probably one, a child of the client, two, a relative, three, an untrained interpreter, four, an agency state member, such as a clerk or maintenance worker. Okay, I'm going to least the least appropriate. So that's the opposite. Okay. Least appropriate person is probably I'm going to um eliminate an untrained interpreter because you I'm sorry, that is the answer. The least appropriate person, an untrained, that's the answer. I'm sorry.
The
I'm gonna
answer.
go with three.
Okay, why is it?
I because it says the least appropriate, so the appropriate person would be a trained interpreter. Um, so that's how I'm viewing that in my head.
What would be your second choice? What was your second choice?
Um,
Because you eliminated two. So what was it? Well, let me ask you, what were the two you eliminated?
four and two.
One, two. So your answer was one.
A client. Oh, okay.
You know why?
No.
Number
Because
appropriate.
HIPAA violation. If I got HIV,
HIPAA.
I'm coming in a clinic and I just learned my HIV diagnosis and my child is with me. You want my child to tell me of my HIV diagnosis?
No. No.
I always thought it would be like a child will always be an inappropriate resource.
The least appropriate. All these people can be used, but the last person that you will use in this case is a child.
That's what I'm saying, because they
I
tell
don't
me that I get this a lot too. Is like there will never be an instance where a child would be utilized. Like you would rather use someone else than use
someone
a
else.
child.
Correct. See, that's why I have to reread. I don't like questions where it says the least. Those are the ones that like I get anxiety around.
But you was right there. So I'm going to help you. No, you do like those questions. You're not afraid of those questions because you did everything right. You actually, that's why I say, let me go back and ask you, what were the two that you eliminated? So you eliminated, and that was in your choice. And you started, you was like, Lee, so let me flip it. Just pay attention. Got it? So you got it.
Yeah.
Okay. You sound like you got it. I can't go
Yeah.
to the person until you sound like you really got it. You
Yes, I
smiling,
got
but
it,
you ain't
ma'am.
saying it. Incongruence. You're saying one thing. Y'all see how she's smiling, but she's like, yeah.
No, yes, I do understand it. And I do know that because, at my job, we don't use a child as
Yeah.
a client. That's the most inappropriate. So,
But just think about it, Jessica. If you were on, just say a car caught on fire and it was a parent in there and they spoke Spanish and I only speak English and it's a kid there, I am going to use that child because that is an emergency situation and I need to get this information across, but I'm going to be mindful of what I say. So does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I'm there's always an exception to everything,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be one of it. It's life or death and an
Yes.
immediate. Like
Yes.
something in an office that, I would never, I would
You're gonna
never.
go pull the janitor if it's just you and him in there first because he is upheld to the same standards as everybody else in that office. Okie dokie, let's go to number 4. Who's number 4? Did everybody go? Is it Quenisha? We can't hear you.
Oh, she muted.
I think something happened to your sound. I see your lips moving, but I can't hear you, and your thing is not on mute. Log out and log right back in. So what we're gonna do is, Jessica, you can do another question, and then when she comes in, she'll get to do 2 questions.
Empirical research on diagnostic patterns has historically demonstrated that African American clients with the same symptom presentation as white African clients will often be diagnosed. Okay, I would eliminate 3.
3, and what else?
I probably
Can y'all hear me?
We
oh
can now.
yeah, can you know
You're gonna get 2 chances after Jessica.
Okay.
Okay.
less severely. I would eliminate 1.
1. Okay.
I don't know whether it's irrelevant or not. I don't know.
Repeat the question again.
Okay, empirical research on diagnostic patterns has historically demonstrated that African American clients with the same symptom presentations as white clients will often be diagnosed more severely. So I'm gonna go with 2.
2 is the correct answer. Girl, you sweating over there, huh?
I'm sending it to the Lord, Sherry.
I was ready for this one too, and the thing hung up. I don't know
Oh, you get
what's going on.
2. It's the
Oh,
first Sunday, Jessica. He's blessing you. So, Quenisha, you're gonna get 5 and 6.
okay. With the same symptom presentation, African American clients are more likely to be diagnosed with a anxious, phobic, alcoholic, or schizophrenic. Same symptom presentation. 4,
Eliminate two.
Oh, I would eliminate anxious,
Yeah.
which they probably do present with that, but it will be anxiety. But phobic, I will take that off because I don't believe them. I don't know. I don't recall seeing that anywhere, understanding that. Alcoholic they may, but I would say schizophrenic because they would go to the most extreme diagnosis first.
Yep,
To,
that's correct. Give yourself a
Mhm.
hand clap, girl. You got it right. Yay! And remember, you are normally schizophrenic is it could be considered as genetic as well as bipolar. And also
Mhm.
with schizophrenia, it's normally not seen until after 18th birthday. For some
Mhm.
reason, that's when it typically shows after 18, most definitely at 21. Number six, you get that as well, Cornisha.
Okay, a psychological, cultural, and political orientation to life that both determines and influences how people think, behave, make decisions, and understand phenomena is usually called a
Eliminate two.
worldview, cultural, personal opinion, perception. Okay. It would be perception, I think.
Did you
Um,
eliminate two?
okay, I'm a eliminate. It's a personal opinion, but that would be your perception also, right? How you perceive things. Um, cultural. All right, I'm gonna eliminate one.
Oh,
And I'm eliminating one because it's talking about a person making determines influence how people think. Well, it could be worldly. Well, I'm eliminating it. It is what it is. And I'm gonna eliminate culture also because it's not explaining. Well, no, it's that physiological, psychological, cultural. Well, no, I'm eliminating that. Don't seem right to me.
doing a lot of second guessing,
I know that's my problem. I'm gonna stick with what I had for perception.
but it is one.
It's one. Okay, help me
One you
understand.
were so adamant about that it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so what it is, a worldview is on ideology. It looks at everything as a whole. So a physiological, cultural, and political orientation to life that both determines and influences how people think, behave, make decisions, and understand a phenomenal. Think about it. We all get butt lifts because the whole world getting butt lifts. We all taking GLP-1 shots because the whole world taking GLP-1 shots. We do our political stuff based on who gets out there and, advertise for certain politicians. So that's the worldview. All right. Miss Hill, or is it Mastermind? Mastermind and Miss Hill.
It's me.
Okay, Mastermind.
I can't see the question.
Uh-oh, sorry. Uh-oh. I'm over here trying to write it out so I can scratch off y'all answers. Okay, 7.
The search committee for a new associate director has found a highly qualified and capable woman candidate and is conducting the final interview. The director of social services, commenting on the woman's advanced pregnancy and the demands of the position, asked her how she will manage childcare if she is offered the job. She responds and says, "This is a personal matter and not an appropriate question. How should the committee regard her response?" So you have a pregnant woman who is in the final rounds of her interview, and they make a comment about her being pregnant and how she's going to manage childcare. And she told them basically, ain't none of her their business, it's personal. And they want to know how should the committee regard the response. Number one, they should see it as revealing an attitude problem that probably makes her unsuitable for the job. Two, her response suggests that she has not given adequate thought to the problem and does not realize the job is very demanding. 3, her response reveals she is not a team player. Or 4, they should disregard her response and immediately apologize for asking. Wow. Well, I can't put myself in the question. I gotta remove myself. Um, so I'm gonna eliminate 1. We don't want
Okay.
to assume that she got an attitude.
Uh-oh. Wait a minute.
Oh,
Oh, it's one of y'all trying to sign in. Let me
no.
take a picture of this.
No,
I'm about to fight these people because they playing around. I'm about to test on the 7th. It's
Yeah,
time to fight.
keep going. I'm sending this to Dr. Pam now. Oh no.
I feel like we're missing one person though that was here before, like Gina. I think there was. We didn't hear her, but maybe she got off.
That might be it.
No, they're asking me to change passwords and
Oh
stuff.
no, don't do that. Mm-mm.
So y'all were able to see that it just popped up, right?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
no.
This your screen.
oh, y'all didn't see that. So it's sending me messages saying somebody is trying to log in and do you want to change the password? Okay,
Uh-uh.
Don't
just
do
one
that.
second.
I need to
Just
stop
one.
playing. I need my study material.
Okay.
Fight.
Yeah.
Y'all should have
No.
seen me this morning trying to study. I was all over the place.
I tell you, Friday I was looking all over for Pam Turner, looking all over
Yeah,
everywhere.
just
Couldn't
one
find.
second, Mastermind. I hate to do this. I need to call my supervisor real
Go
fast.
ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want her videos, and her videos is linked. So when you click it, this white lady comes up.
Yes, I saw
And
that.
Yep.
when you type in
My
Dr.
girl
Pam,
Gretchen, why are they trying to steal a black woman's material?
Well, let me tell you,
she the
I
best.
haven't seen Dr. Pam. I've never seen her before, but now she's all over. Like, I don't know if she's getting like high ratings or not. And the way she described her material is completely different. It's a different style compared to others. And they know, I guess somebody had to find a way. Let's hack her because she got the juice. I don't know what it is. And
It's
I hate that they did it while she's out the country. I can understand. She probably is devastated over there and can't do much. I'm sorry, my husband in the background on the
Yeah. I
game.
follow her on Facebook and she's been like doing updates and she was talking about
Yeah,
it. And I just felt like it devastated me. Like I was, you know what I mean? Like I'm a part of the group here. Like, I mean, well, we are because we're here,
yeah,
right? But I mean,
yeah.
like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like all you guys hard work, you know?
I was
Not to
waiting
mention
for
all the
her on
stuff.
Friday. I tutor
me
with her on my
too.
lunch break and I got a
Me
phone call
too.
that was like Dr. Pam is trying to get on, but she's been hacked. So like then they're gonna have to like reset my individual with her. But that's like ridiculous. But also like I just can't believe I didn't know it was that bad. I just thought it was a simple hack. I wasn't
Yeah.
following everything because I have all her stuff saved on a doc. I haven't checked any of it.
Let me tell
Yeah.
you,
I
I
went
paid
into
for the
my,
YouTube doc.
because like how we get the session right here, it'll
Mhm.
go into, our little file on our, what is it, Pearl, but they're
Mhm.
not even on there.
Nope.
Yeah,
Nothing.
girl, don't see anything.
Okay, y'all,
Yeah.
we're back. Don't panic. I just needed to, I had to do those screenshots and send them over. So I do apologize for that small disruption, but you all should have your stuff tonight. If not, in the morning. So, Mastermind, I'm sorry. Get back focused.
All
The
right.
devil be working sometimes. What you had took away number one.
I took away number 1. And let's see. Let's see. Her response suggests that she is not giving adequate thought to the problem and does not realize the job is very demanding. I'll keep it for now. Her
Okay.
response reveals she is not a team player. I'm going to remove that. So now I'm between 2 and 4. They should disregard her response and immediately apologize for asking. Her response suggests that uh, she is not giving adequate thought to the problem and does not realize the job is very okay. The search committee for a new associate director has found a highly qualified and capable woman uh, candidate and is conducting the final interview. So we're in the final phase. The director of the social services committee, I mean, the director of the social services commenting on the woman's advanced pregnancy and the demand of the position and asked how she will manage childcare if she is offered the job. She responds and says this is a personal matter and not an appropriate question. How should the committee respond? So between 2 and 4, her response suggests that she has not given adequate thought to the problem and does not realize the job is very demanding, or they should disregard her response and immediately apologize for asking. I guess I'm thinking like the company people. I'm guessing 2.
2 is your final answer.
Hey, I wanted to be 4, but I think that's me putting myself in the question. So I'm gonna go.
2 is the final answer.
Yeah,
It's 4.
and see. Okay.
That's discrimination.
I didn't even think about that.
Uh-huh.
It happened to me twice. This exact scenario has happened to me twice.
Wow. It
Okay.
happened to you too, Cornisha. Yeah. You can't
Before
do
I
that.
got into social work world, yes, it did.
But I got it from social workers, and that was like so disappointing. And at one point during COVID, when I got pregnant, I interviewed behind a desk and they didn't know that I was pregnant. And I got the job.
It's a matter of okay, in their defense, but it's discrimination. Her advertisement for employment is a lot of money. Hiring and orientation is a lot of money. And so their thing is we need somebody to fill this seat. So when we let a pregnant person come in, she's gonna be gone. And now we either gotta dump all this work on the people that's here, which we're trying to eliminate, but it's discrimination. All of my jobs, I was pregnant. I got lucky and I got hired, but I hear it happens a lot to pregnant people. So yeah. Number 8,
Understand.
Miss Hill.
Yes. Hold on first. Race is related to the social status, health, level of education, lifestyle, intelligence, and income of minorities. These differences are are least explained.
Like I got another one. You gotta blame it on Cornisha because her screen froze.
These differences are least explained by one, biological inheritance and genetic differences, two, social factors and family relationships, three, political status and political organization, four, culture and educational issues. Okay, race is related to the social status. The differences are least explained by. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate one because it isn't talking about anything of inheritance and genetics. Um, and three, social. So I'm gonna go with four. Final answer.
Why 4?
Cultural and educational issues. Oh wait, I'm so sorry. Hold on. Level of education. These differences are least explained by. I'm sorry. No, let me take that back. No, that is it. That is it saying that for political. One. Number
It is
one
one.
is
It's
final
one.
answer.
It's one. It is one. It is one.
Okay.
I told you the last time. See, God said it's the first Sunday, and I'm gonna give her another question just to see if she really meant what she said to you at first. Sherry, you see what I'm saying? You went
Yeah.
back and you looked at it again. What made you go back?
When I was reading it, when you said final answer, and I was like culture and education, I said, oh wait, no, no, no. And I read it again, and it said level of education stuck out to me. And then I went down and it said the differences are least. So I'm like, oh wait, that is explaining the question. So that cannot be it.
Yep.
So then I looked at it one more time and I'm like, okay, nothing in here says anything about, and I said that the first time, biological inheritance. So yeah.
And you all, believe it or not, your answer really fits into the vignette. It's like a piece of the puzzle. So once you select your answer, after you process, you do a process of elimination. When you look at your last two, whether it's three choices or four choices, go back and insert it in the vignette. It would just like flow perfectly. So we have come to the end of tonight. So we have gone through AppGuard. You will get this information. We've gone through AppGuard chapter, LCSW exam book chapter 3. I've pulled some material from Pocket Prep and given to you all tonight, and I also gave you these questions that comes from Dr. Pam. So I tried to make sure everything flowed from the stuff I was reading, because that gets boring, but to let you know that I'm gonna bring it back around and see if you really were paying attention. You all are paying for this. So remember, you gotta give 100%. Typically, when you pay your money, you get something better out of it. So before we end, I'm going to ask you all again, briefly, Cornisha, what did you get out of tonight's session?
Pay attention to the wordings in the question. It's a reading test, like y'all always say.
Read it twice, process of elimination. Most definitely with you, Cornisha, because you just like, hey, slow down. If you do process
Mm-hmm.
of elimination, it's going to make your brain say, girl, go back and look at that again. You're going to catch something in your choices that's going to go back to the vignette. Mastermind, what did you get out of tonight's session?
What was his last question? I have to pay attention to words because I totally overlooked that that's discrimination.
Mhm.
Yep, totally is. And that's one thing we fight for. Remember, we're policy fighters, so we don't play that. And that's what the test is trying to see if you understand. Our clients come to a lot of times because they're lost. They don't know what to do. And so we got to tell them, hey, go to HR. Hey, that's discrimination. Hey, that's a violation of your rights. Hey, that's a HIPAA violation. La, la, la. Miss Hill, what did you get?
Um, I need to read it and understand it. Exactly like Quanisha was saying, it's a reading test. In my brain, when I read it, I don't understand what I read sometimes, so I have to go back and read it.
So, Miss Hill, when you're doing questions, may I suggest get you a notebook, write your question, write your answer, or type your questions, type your answers. And if you're writing, you're going to always scratch out two. You're going to circle the one you think most definitely is the answer. If you're typing, you use a highlighter and you
Okay.
highlight in red, like what you think is not the answer. You highlight in green, what you think is the answer. And the one in yellow is what you, green is what you most definitely believe the answer is. Yellow is what you think it is. Because you have a lot of unprocessing to do. And because you are learning to like the lease and this and all those processing questions, you really need those methods, because what you're doing is your brain and your hand is working together to help you retrain. And you actually
Mhm.
start seeing that you can answer what is least because it's forcing you to read it multiple times.
Right. Okay.
Just a
Thank
suggestion.
you.
Mhm. And I would say start with Pocket Prep, the free version. Just do the question of the day every morning or evening, what works best for you, but have a notebook. And before you press the answer, just try to select it.
Okay.
Miss Jessica, what did you get?
I need to go to church. But I think that one of is you got to say it with your whole chest, because I think that when you doubt yourself, that's when you get into trouble, and then you start changing answers. So the moments where I felt like I doubted myself, like I shouldn't have, because they were right, and any other day I probably would have wanted to fight and change the answer. So just go with your gut.
And remember, these are just practice questions. They're not the real questions. So don't get upset when you don't get the answer right. Tell yourself, girl, this is the opportunity. This is the best opportunity right here. It's just practice questions. You have to tell yourself that too, because a lot of times you'll do these questions. I have my students to do the same questions over and over. And I'm just trying to test to see, did you get it right? When I gave it to you 2 weeks ago, did you get the same answer 2 weeks later? Because now I know if you're doing it off of memorization. So that's probably something you want to do as well. I would not give you these questions, but in the other material that I give you that comes out of APGAR, there's questions there. The reason I don't give questions, I only give questions to my clients that I have individually, and that's because I don't give them the answers until they've done all the questions. And I wouldn't have a way to know. I mean, I can give y'all the questions, but you have to ask yourself if you're gonna dedicate 2 hours to answering all these questions. Okay, I send them to you all, and what you can do is when you need to answer, I think I'm like academic. I think it's our first and last sharing. Let me see. I have so many email addresses, I can't keep up with them. So I'm Coach Sherry, ACFWC at Gmail. COACHSHERRY ACFWC at gmail.com. So when I give you these questions, be fair to yourself. If you know you've answered all of them, you can shoot me a message, but you only have a week to do it. Because after a week, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've been saw 99 more people, but it's also challenging you to see how committed you are to yourself. That's the realistic piece to it. Well, if you know me, I go to sleep like at 8:30. And so is somebody asking me a question?
No, I just put your email there so that I could
Okay.
write it to myself later on.
Okay, thank you. But I normally send all this to the admin department. So if they don't get it out to you all tonight, most definitely tomorrow. And if you haven't heard, I will be teaching any courses on the second and fourth Sundays. And I think Dr. Pam, don't quote me on this, will be doing first and third Sundays, unless it's holidays or something like that. So you all will see me more frequent now.
What do we do about the hack? Only because like all my videos I have of her, I just check right now and they're offline. So is like the office gonna like maybe give us something so that we have something to watch?
We have nothing to give you.
Oh, geez.
We had the same. So, what happened was when Dr. Pam started her company many years ago, she was solo. It wasn't until probably about 4 years ago, and I know I have permission to say this, where she started getting an assistant. And that's probably was around the time that I was coming in, because she was working full time and she was still able just to like work full time at the college and just come out and do some quick YouTube videos and work with a few little students and do groups. So when she was working in Silo, everything was just under her personal. It wasn't until within the last 5 years, maybe 4 years, where everything just like boom overnight, where she's like, okay, I need some more tutors. I'm not a one-man show anymore. And so those videos that was on YouTube, they're like 10 years old. And it was attached to her personal. When she grew, of course, yeah, her business grew. She started having to grow onto the business side of everything. But I think a lot of stuff was not moved over to the business side, like all those YouTube videos that everybody's accustomed to,
Because I had
including
stuff from
me.
personal groups that she threw. Like she like even her the ones like the social work boot camps, the study groups from like 3 years ago, those are all gone now.
Yeah, everything is gone.
I'm gonna need
Everything.
y'all to do another file or something with these videos so we can have this backup or something.
It's just gone because where I think going forward, and that's something she got to work on. But keep in mind, she's also in another country,
Right.
which is making it even harder. And so the staff is behind the scenes working, but it's only so much they can do because she's out of the country.
Will she
And
do
like she mentioned in
then?
her videos, those IEP addresses is not matching up. So they don't even know if she's the hacker. You know, they're like, you in a whole nother country trying to tell us da 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 da. And so she needs to be on US turf to really get things speeded up a little bit faster. And that wasn't in her plan. And she's not in a part of Mexico either where she's in harm's way. So just let you all know that as
Is
well.
is
Yeah, yeah.
there is she gonna do? I know she's doing an NCE and another boot camp. Is she planning on doing a social work boot camp anytime soon?
He told me no because I actually looked into it.
Oh, okay.
So here's the thing with social workers. It's so many social work tutors out there that it's competitive. Like if you Google NCE, Dr. Pam name will show up on everything because there's not a lot of NCE tutors out there. So we don't
Yeah.
have a lot of social workers or as many social workers as we need to be successful with the boot camp as we do with NCE students.
Okay.
I've been
Y'all go
spraying this
get y'all
lady name
friends and
out.
bring them. The
I need
plan was
something. I gotta have a Klonopin because now how much study? I don't have any material right now.
Yeah.
that's why you don't panic. Well, they let me know y'all not close to 50 because I grew up with pen and paper. So I'm just gonna say don't panic. And this is the time where you test yourself. This is the time where you say, I really know this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I know more than I'm giving myself credit for, and the video is not there. But I hear Dr. Pam. I know they've given me material, whatever written material you all have, use that.
Mm-hmm.
I hear y'all keep focusing on the videos, but when you go into the testing site, you don't get to pull up paper and videos and stuff.
Well, a lot of the time she even tell you, y'all don't write nothing. You ain't write nothing down. Listen
Yeah.
to what I'm saying. This is
And
what I listen.
she's like, watch the video in the morning, then watch the
And
video at night. But there's no
and
video to watch now.
Yeah.
But I don't
We
tell
just
y'all
listening.
that. So I can say Sherry's mastermind to tell you in all my classes, I'm like, hey, y'all need to write.
No,
I'm
she's
old
always
school.
calling me out. She's like, Jessica, stop writing. I'm like, okay, ma'am.
and she said, "Let me see
But
your hands."
My dear
Yeah, thing
lesson.
is, I have like 1,000 before my studying, before finding y'all videos. I have like this big old thing of flashcards that I created from the Dawn Apgar clinical and the iLeap. I created I was recording myself going over some content in my own way. I was doing it that way at first. And I'm also doing study groups. I was already doing this after I passed the LM for MSWs to pass the LM. And this is what our professor at the school, we do it on the side. And I've helped LMs, well, MSWs pass the LM, but the LC is a little bit different. So I'm like, it's something I'm doing. And when I found you guys, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm receiving it, whatever it is that I must be missing. I didn't schedule the test and I didn't write down anything else because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just stay the course for like another month or so, and then I'm gonna schedule it again. So
So
I'll just
y'all
go
don't
back
want
to
to
the
hear this.
material.
But
Go
when
ahead.
I was her student, I used to all the videos, even the ones I was in class with her on and the ones I wasn't. I was watching group videos before I even met with her. I would take a Saturday, 3 hours, watch her video, and don't do anything. Go back and watch the video again and write notes. Literally, I love my mama with everything. I put this on my mama's life. I just like 2 weeks ago shredded the notes that I had took from watching her videos and just writing stuff down.
Dang, I would have paid for them notes.
I'm sorry, just shredded them like 2 weeks ago because I was accumulating too much paper in my house. So this is the
The
time.
brain teasers though. I don't know if you guys know there's Brainscape that she has maintained these flashcards. So I bought the membership and actually it's pretty good. And it's from Agents of Change. Like they're maintaining this deck. So maybe that might be helpful. It's like $30, but is I don't
It's
know.
worth it. It
Maybe
is.
it's for
Thank
me
you for
it's
saying
I
that.
study like as I commute or at work and it's like one less big thing to take with me. But I guess I'll start using that.
So I get this to you all. I'm about to jump on my book read thing. If you all ever want to read a book or you have a child that need community service hours, they can read on my book read platform. It's every first and third Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And it's just reading a child-friendly book, but you get a community service hour for doing it. So that's that on that. And if you all want to see me tonight at 7:30, you can go to Be True on Facebook. There's BEE capital T, lowercase r, capital U, and y'all will see me there. So I'm gonna jump off here and jump on there.
All right.
But I see you all on the fourth Sunday.
All right.
Bye.
Or the second
Thank
Sunday.
you.
It's either the second or the fourth. Y'all welcome. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Yeah.